Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we're very lucky to have a special guest from Binance. Welcome, Ted Lin.
Hi, my pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming on, Ted. It's been such a huge year for Binance, and I know recently you said that the second year will leave the first in the dust. So I'm looking forward to talking about your future expansion plans and everything that's been happening. But Binance is over a year old now, but I think the backstory goes back a lot further than that with loyalty and CZ and all that. So tell tell us a bit about what it's been like and the story behind it all.
Sure. CD is a veteran in the industry. He had worked in Bloomberg before. He had worked with teams that actually helped build the Tokyo Stock Exchange. So we're talking about some of the best when it comes down to the exchange matching engine and all the intricacies behind making an exchange system work. So when the Binance.com or the Binance white paper was written, it was not just another ICO. It was actually a team of people who had the dream and the capability to pull things off. And they just wanted the enthusiasm and the participation of people around the world who believe in the project and believe the world needs a better crypto exchange. So when it came out a couple weeks after the white paper was released, people thought it was a bit ludicrous, but it was actually quite a few decades of manpower and know-hows in the working. So it wasn't like they had this thing lined up and just open the curtain and things showed. It's actually many years of people hard at work, bring together the best of the best to deliver the project that exceed people's expectation.
Absolutely, it's those strong teams and that experience which we see shine through in all the successful projects. Really. So, what was the past 12 months since you opened like in terms of having to expand the team and just the volume of trading? And was the engine always capable of doing that, or did it even sort of surprise you guys in terms of where you got to? I guess within a year.
I think the rate of acceleration, the rate of growth, definitely surprised us all. We were expecting more of a linear as we impress more people, people would tell more people, so the word of mouth, organic type of growth. But the hockey stick definitely came in a lot faster than we thought. If you look back, even if you tried to Google, Binance didn't really do much marketing. If marketing is supposed to be by the way of inorganic, arbitrary sponsorship or creatively sending out different permutation of message for the sole purpose of going through that funnel, we didn't actually do much of that. It was pretty much sticking our head to making a product better, taking care of its users, beefing up the customer service side of things, and the rest just came naturally. So yes, there were definitely bottlenecks, not so much on the system side, but in terms of, for example, end of last year, when we grew to number one with the top volume in a single day, maxing out at 10 billion US dollars in that single day, we realized that our customer service team was not scaling up fast enough. Given that people usually have troubles or frequently asked questions or need for help when they first sign up on a platform, that's where we lacked in the beginning. So for the past half year, we have been beefing that up, and nowadays we even have customer service teams that's scouting the social media platforms to make sure that any question not only are they answered when they open tickets, but even when they ask on the social media, they're attended to. So we've come a long way since then.
I think that was a problem that all the exchanges faced when we had that big run towards the end of our last year. So, what do you think was the main thing that set Binance apart? I know CZ's been talking about the volume being pretty natural compared to a lot of these other exchanges where we have a lot of bots. And how does that all fit into what Binance is trying to deliver and why you believe you got to number one?
Sure. I think some exchanges or some business in the world feels that they need to spend a lot of time pumping up the so-called vanity index. So if those vanity metrics are actually taking up your time or mind share, that means you have less share for actually building the product and taking care of your users. For us, we never thought of trying to do big marketing, trying to make the volume look big. We just kind of focused on the user and the product. We're not perfect, and we realize that. I think it's the humility that allows us to plow ahead Every time we hear about something, we want to give it a try after study and put it out to the users and see what can improve again. So that execute, that get feedback, that put it back to the design board, and then execute the next iteration kind of cycle is definitely the most pivotal engine behind our success. It will actually be incremental, just very fast evolution instead of overnight revolution, I would say.
What was the idea behind the BNB token? Again, was that to give people another reason to sort of get talking about Binance and get them involved? I mean, at one point it was up 100x from ICO price, and that certainly gets people talking. But we hadn't really seen a lot of the, I guess, it's not offering equity in the company, but getting people involved in the platform and discounting fees. Was that all sort of what you thought it was going to play out like, or again, even better than your wildest dreams?
I think it worked out even better than we originally imagined. Given that we did ICOs, so using tokens in exchange for the funding injected was a pretty standard way of raising money in crypto. But I think the positive additional benefit, or the quote unquote side effect we didn't anticipate right off the bat, is the immediate fan base we obtained. So people were waiting to try out this product. Crypto exchange is at the core of your experience with the crypto side of things. And by having people invest in BNB token, they're even more interested in the success, and they're very interested in also the volunteer program we created called Angel Program. So most of the early angels, they join us because they hold the BNB token. So they wanted not to witness, but to participate and help with the success of the Binance exchange. So overall, I think, yes, it got people talking, especially when it's actually outperforming the market. But also by having a small stake in the crypto, quote unquote, equity side of things, even though we're not really giving out equity, but by holding BNB, you are effectively holding an influential share of the crypto project. That got people talking. That got people thinking about 24/7. That got people suggesting new ways to make it better for the users. So I think it turned out great, much better than we expected.
Now, I know you can't disclose everything that's going on, future plans and whatnot, but the talk about the DEX that you guys want to build, is that going to hopefully have the BNB token involved in some way as well, directly on the blockchain, or what can you tell us about that?
I mean, we are going to build a new chain, right? It's going to be the Binance chain. That is the thing we announced when we started the DEX hackathon back then. And we scouted the different implementations. In the end, we decided to use our own implementation. We have actually in-house a team of experts, blockchain experts that will build this out. And the decentralized exchange, which CZ had showed a sneak peek of the prototype with the command prompt working, is going to be focused on speed. It's going to be using a proprietary blockchain. So it will be something that is different, something that you've not seen in the market. I think it would take a few iterations before it becomes perfect, as usual. But yeah, even I myself, I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. I'm very much looking forward to that one as well. Other things that you guys have focused on have been, getting involved in the community and that sort of thing. I was pretty lucky to get a few videos put up on the Binance Academy, and thanks to the team, the t-shirt rocked up in the mail 15 minutes before this interview, guys, so that was awesome as well. But what are you focusing on in terms of the community and that academy and other things going forward? You just announced future plans to go to plenty more continents last week, so what does that all look like?
Sure. So when I said we didn't do any marketing in the past, it is absolutely true. Going forth, we will start to do a lot more aggressive outreach. The ratio between the type of traditional marketing in terms of sponsorship, ad placements, banners, that would always be a smaller part compared to our community outreach. In fact, the whole project of Binance Academy was born out of the ultimate need for us to onboard more members, more users around the world into the blockchain crypto side of things, for us to have a bigger crowd to serve. So we felt that in the same original psyche we had, the original concept of bringing together the community, pretty much nurturing the community for Binance, we have started the so-called Binance Global Meetup. And the Binance Global Meetup is a very interesting thing. It's not your regular, we're buying some beer, everybody huddles around and just chat whatever you like. We're also injecting a little bit about what is the latest about Binance. We usually are able to bring together enthusiasts or crypto clubs. Many of the project teams want to join to show their project, but we said no. This is actually a very neutral playground. We just did one in Istanbul. We have more than 400 people sign up. In the end, I think the collective house, this venue we had more than probably 200 people that just crowded the place. So it was packed. We did quite a few in Vietnam. We also did quite a few in Germany. We did one in Latam, that's in Guatemala, coming out in Mexico City. So we want to do these meetups all over the world. And before the end of the year, we also want to do one in Australia.
Awesome.
So
yeah, we'd love to
all
be
these community initiatives actually what we want to do on the marketing side of things. So if you ask what our future plan is, our future plan is to have more services to cater to more people and for us to deliver that firsthand to more corners of the world.
And for the people at home saying, if there's a Binance Australia exchange, what's the difference to having their usual Binance account? Is the goal for you guys to maybe list more local projects in all these different countries around the world? Or is it more to tie it in with those sort of community meetups and build that local community?
Sure. So on your last question, you also mentioned the fiat exchange that we have aggressive plans for. And by having a local fiat exchange, it is actually the fiat gateway on-ramp, right? So Binance.com will always be Binance.com, which is the crypto-to-crypto exchange. We will continue to list quality projects, quality tokens, and coins. That will not change. But the fiat exchanges allow a much better, a more convenient, secure on-ramp and off-ramp for the local fiat currency. For example, by the time the Singaporean one is up and running, it will be a on-ramp for Singaporean dollars to be exchanged for Bitcoin, for example, and vice versa. And for the other ones like Binance Uganda, once it's up and running, you'll be able to exchange between Uganda shilling and Bitcoin. So these kind of on-ramp and off-ramp is very important to facilitate more people coming into the crypto side of things. But it will not mean that it will list the tokens of that specific region. If it's quality project from that specific region, it will be considered for listing on the Binance.com, as always.
Awesome. Fantastic to see. There's another question we had about margin trading, and a lot of people sort of getting pretty obsessed with BitMEX and other of those platforms. Is there any plans for that, or is that something that's not the best return on time spent for Binance's expansion plans at the moment?
Sure. So margin is always something we talk about internally. It's just like one of the many priorities we juggle at the same time. At this point in time, we are not that much into monetization strategy. We're more about acquisition, right? So which decision will allow us to onboard more of the world's population into the crypto world, allow them to witness and understand blockchain and how disruptive and positively influential it can be. And if you imagine just a very simple one between fiat exchanges and margin, the answer will be very easy to spot, and that is the fiat on-ramp. Margin will allow us for sure to have more trading fee, but it would not allow us to onboard much more of the world's population into the crypto side of things.
Yeah, cool. That's great. I think that's the right way to have your priorities around as well. What are the countries that excite you most, or is there ones like Australia? Is that pretty regulation friendly? We saw sort of China and South Korea take a step back. Are you guys still focusing on looking at bringing the people from those countries in, or what's the most exciting countries that you're sort of focusing on?
I think the most exciting ones are the up and coming. There are many countries that are already big for any kind of crypto players, whether you're trying to do an ICO or you're trying to start a project or for exchanges. Those would be big sources of revenue. US definitely will be one of the bigger ones. And I think many of the up and coming are the ones that are not currently on people's number one, but should be growing quite fast. We actually see Vietnam, we actually see Russia, we actually see Turkey, India, Korea, all these places that are upcoming. So that's why we're actually planting marketing team members in these countries to accelerate our understanding of the local market.
Awesome.
Because regulation is something that will be cemented in a positive way sooner or later. Well, either the government's going to be like open, or they're going to be closed. The other is kind of wait and see, right? But we believe sooner or later, most of the governments will open up to it somewhat. So right now is the time for us to start the learning journey ASAP. If we can understand local preferences, if we can start educating people about Binance Academy, teach them about blockchain, teaching people about crypto, even before they want to trade, it will actually be the best time to let them know Binance is here to help.
Yeah, that's the perfect segue, I guess, into the security tokens. And you guys recently signed the MOU with the Malta Stock Exchange. Obviously, everyone's excited about the future and security tokens and what that can bring to the space. What are your thoughts on all that? And is it going to be like the Binance crypto to crypto exchange where hopefully the everyday individual can purchase and trade security tokens? Or is it going to be more of a vetting process with KYC and AML who can own these security tokens?
Well, depending on the securities law relevant to the exchange, relevant to the region or the country where we set up the securities token exchange, I do suspect there will be strict KYC and ML compliance procedures in place as part of the mandate, which is quite normal. In between the new world and the old world, there needs to be some kind of a compliance checklist in order for the regulators to feel comfortable, and that is a necessary part of the evolution. So if it has to be, it has to be. But as soon as that is available, after you're onboarded, it will actually move the needle quite fast, as people can easily transfer from old money to new money, whether it's securitized or not. So it's quite interesting.
Do you see that movement from the places like the US that have really pushed back against ICOs, whereas a company like yourself can just say, right, we're going to Malta, we're setting up? And do you see in the next generation some of those countries that have pushed back are going to say, wow, we have had some of the brightest minds and the innovators and the money, and that's all moved, and that's sort of maybe built up Malta's economy or some of these other countries? Do you really notice those countries and leaders that you meet with that are very friendly saying, yeah, come here, we want to get that in our country, versus people that are just sort of turning a blind eye and saying, no, we don't want that, not interested?
I think most governments, or in fact, in business, most companies always look at the existing, the incumbent success versus the new opportunities, and just weigh what they can gain versus what are the risks. If they already have a big foothold or share in the modern or old economy, they are less inclined to give that up. They're less inclined to disrupt themselves. Whereas the new player who are bold enough, they can actually have a chance at eating other people's lunch. So I think it's the same old story anytime, anywhere. So yes, if it takes off that fast and there's actually a shift in bargaining power or share in the new economy, I believe the wise ones will actually move fast to catch up, no doubt.
Nobody wants to be first, but then nobody wants to be last either. So
exactly.
I guess finally, everyone's talking about the ETF, and a few people are excited about Backed coming online. I'm not sure how long you've been personally in crypto, but we have these cycles where we run up and get overextended, then we have the corrections. And where do you think the market's at in general, and what's exciting you most for the future? Personally, I'm not fussed about an ETF at all. What do you think is your main driver for whether it's Bitcoin or crypto in general over the next 12 months?
Well, CZ has expressed a bullish view, and the entire company is pretty much one of those hodling culture. So internally, we actually do not allow day trading at all. The people who have the demand or the urge to day trade, they probably wouldn't be joining the Binance team. So as a company, as a team, collectively, we do believe in the future of crypto. Surely there will be retracements, corrections. It's a very natural part of any value creation. If you look at equity, if you look at derivatives, look at bonds, there's always going to be ups and downs. Crypto is the same. We believe in the long-term bull of the crypto run. Bitcoin is still one of the most pivotal or the main index for the crypto trend. And we believe after the necessary retracement, it will be on its growth again. I believe for the first half of the year, BNB is actually outperforming the market. And hopefully the rest of the market will catch up soon and we can continue the gigantic bull run we hope to look forward to.
I think everyone wants to get that gigantic bull run back underway, and hopefully Binance can be a big part of that as well. So thanks so much for joining us today, Ted. I hope we talk again in the future, and good luck with everything. We look forward to you guys coming to Australia.
Thank you, Alex.
Cool.
Look
Thanks,
forward to
guys.
coming to Australia too.